Hello, this is old Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and we're going to go take a look at construction on an area where I've been following, which was pretty much put on hold when we had all the rain, and has become overgrown with green foliage because the weeds have taken over. But we've driven by in the car, and I just wanted to see if there's actually anything going on finally, that things are beginning to dry up. So we'll go ahead and run over there, or fly over there, and I don't have enough energy to even walk over there. And by the way, my shoulder is getting better. In a week or two, I'll be able to be back to normal, hopefully. So anyway, while we're going there, I will tell you about my Christian experience. Now, some people would call it their Christian testimony, but I call it an experience because when you experience something, it's not a matter of faith anymore. It's a matter it's true, and that's the story of my life. So I'm not going to tell you all the details because we don't have time, but I'm going to tell you that when I was 4 years old, my kidneys stopped working. They didn't have kidney machines back then, so my parents took me to Children's Hospital in Seattle. I was there until I was 5. I don't know how long it was, but I got out when I was 5, and my kidneys were working again. And I have to attribute that, and I'm very serious about this. My grandmother was praying for me. And, of course, when I got out, I was spoiled rotten. I mean, people thought I was going to die, so I had a crib full of toys and you name it. So anyway, so I got out, and I was spoiled, and my grandma took me on as her ministry, I'm sure. I was at her house more than I was anyplace else. And I won't go into the details of how spoiled I was, but I'm sure I broke her heart several times being a brat. So anyway, she took me to church with her every chance she got. And eventually she and my grandpa moved in with us when we lived up just in downtown Seattle and close to the city anyway, or just a 15-minute walk from downtown. And so there was room in that house, and so my grandma and grandpa lived with us. My grandma, she kept taking me to church with her all the time, taking me to church with her. And so I would sit there and roll up the bulletin thing, and play and just did not pay a bit of attention. Well, in 1951, when Billy Graham was just getting started, she took me to hear Billy Graham when he was in Seattle, and I think I've still got a Google Earth picture of the stadium where Billy Graham was preaching. And now they're digging a hole, as you can see. They've got that thing. I don't think it's a well, but earlier in the year, in that same area, they were digging a well. And so I don't know what they're doing with that unless they're trying to find it. But as you can see, all the green grass or all the green foliage is kind of taken over. So anyway, she took me to hear Billy Graham, and whatever happened that day, I found out that if I put my trust in Jesus and gave him my heart and my life, just turned my life over to him, that I would go to heaven instead of going to hell. Well, a 9-year-old brat, he's not stupid. So I took him at his word, and I trusted Jesus, and I don't have time to tell you all the details of how that went, but it was an exciting time. And so as I went through high school, I was, active in youth activities. I was very, very active in Youth for Christ. And so I did spent a lot of time at their meetings, and every Saturday night there was they had a great big meeting in an old theater downtown. There'd be a couple thousand. There were 20 Youth for Christ clubs in Seattle. And every Saturday night they'd have their rally down in this old theater. And so when I took a girl on a date, that's where I took her. And so that was just, I was active and stuff, but I wasn't reading my Bible. That's the one thing. I listened to a lot of preachers and did a lot of activities, but I wasn't reading my Bible. Anyway, so when it came time to go to college, I wanted to go to Bible school. I wanted to become some kind of a evangelist or preacher or missionary, whatever was there. But I thought my parents had to pay my way. I didn't know any better. And so they said they weren't going to pay my way. So I ended up having to go to a regular college, where I began to backslide. And backsliding is mean you don't go, and I quit going to church. I quit doing everything that I had been doing, Christian activities and so forth. And so I married the wrong girl and all that kind of stuff. I won't go into that detail. But anyway, after going through a divorce and remarrying my current wife, we ended up, that's another story. I wish I had time to tell you that one. But we listened to this preacher on the radio, and one Sunday morning, I said, well, let's turn on the radio and just see. So, and by the time he was finished preaching, I had tears in my eyes, my wife had tears in her eyes. We decided we'd go out to that church next week. So we went out there. Well, they had their own radio station, and if you've been following my channel very long, you know that eventually I went to work there because I had the commercial broadcast license that was necessary, and I was the chief engineer for that radio station for 15 years. Now, I'll tell you what happened. As soon as the desires of my heart were just to try to please the Lord. I'm not kidding you. That were the desires of my heart. And I had no intention of getting a Harley Davidson motorcycle or buying 2 airplanes, although those things were of interest to me. But as it turned out, the pastor bought a Harley. I went to the shop and helped him pick out the color and all that. And after having it 2 or 3 weeks, he couldn't ride it because he had a bad kidney. So he ended up giving me a raise to pay for it. So I got a free Harley Davidson motorcycle. This is after I had decided I wanted to serve the Lord. And then he also had an airplane, and so I was always helping him with his radio because I had that commercial license. And so I'd help him with his airplane, and eventually one day he showed me. He said, "How come you don't have your pilot license or something?" Because he knew I loved airplanes. My dad had worked for United Airlines all my life, and I told him that story about having cavities in my teeth, and I had believed my parents, and they said, "You'll never be a pilot." So anyway, they misguided me on a lot of things. So then he showed me how I could actually refinance my house, buy a plane, and own my own plane, and because it worked out financially, so I ended up getting a plane. Now, those were not the desires of my heart. That's just how things went. And so the Bible does say he gives you the desires of your heart. But anyway, so that's how that went. And ever since then, that's why I call it an experience, because it was truly an experience. And ever since then, I've been serving the Lord, and I love him a lot, and I know it's real, and I don't have any doubts. And if you don't know it's real, I'm sorry. Everybody has an opportunity to put their trust in Jesus, like I did, and it's open. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment. I'll be happy to answer them and tell you more. But anyway, so that's my Christian experience. And there's a guy running a tractor, and I got way too low here. I wasn't paying attention to my altitude, but we got a good shot of him on the tractor. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching my videos, and God bless.